Hi, Miss Baxter. My name is Elizabeth Hamilton, and I am a school psychologist. I recently received your referral about Joe, and I'm eager to begin working with you to help Joe out.
It's nice to meet you. Yes, I'm very concerned about Joe's progress in my class.
Before we begin talking about Joe, I want to learn a little more about you. How long have you been teaching Joe, and what has your overall experience with him been like?
I'm Joe's resource teacher, and I've been working with Joe for quite some time now, about 3 years. As you know, Joe has been diagnosed with autism, so I'm familiar with his developmental delays and at what level he should be performing. Overall, he is a great student, and he is always motivated to work hard.
It's great to hear how familiar you are with him. Let's talk about our roles in this process.
I would love that.
We are both here to help Joe, and we're going to approach this situation as a team. As far as I'm concerned, you are the expert on Joe's academic ability. So I need all the information you can give me about him so we can work together to determine the problem that Joe is experiencing. Does that sound okay to you?
Yes, I appreciate your help and including me in this process.
I couldn't do this without you. You're an important team member, and please tell me any information or stories that you feel could be remotely relevant to Joe's situation. So let's begin. After looking through Joe's files and test scores, it seems that he is struggling in many academic areas. Are there any areas in particular that concern you more so than others?
I am very concerned about Joe's reading fluency.
Why is that?
According to the DIBELS Oral Reading Fluency Benchmark, Joe is able to read 78 words per minute, which indicates that he is in the some risk range. It also reported that his tone remains monotone while reading, therefore lacking proper expression.
So according to this benchmark, Joe is considered to be at some risk in terms of reading fluency due to his rate of 78 words per minute. How exactly would you like him to be performing in this area?
The desired level of performance is for Joe to be reading 110 words per minute and to be performing at an established third grade reader level by the end of the school year.
Okay, so Joe is currently 32 words short of this goal. Based on your experience with Joe, what do you think is contributing to this problem?
Well, while reading aloud in class, his speed is noticeably inconsistent and difficult to follow while listening to him. I believe that his low level of reading fluency often causes his comprehension to break down as a result of this inconsistency.
Okay, and how do you know that his comprehension is breaking down?
Joe often has difficulty retelling the major concepts of a text that he read aloud, which indicates that he is not comprehending the text. He also earned a score of 18 on the third grade DIBELS Retell Fluency Benchmark, or Reading Comprehension, placing him in the some risk range. The desired level of performance is for Joe to score a 28 in order to be considered an established third grade reader. In class, he only seems to have difficulty retelling the events of a story that he read aloud. It leads me to believe that his reading fluency may be affecting his comprehension.
Okay, so you believe his reading fluency negatively impacts his reading comprehension. Based on his current ability with reading comprehension and where you would like him to be performing, Joe needs to improve his comprehension to earn 10 more points on that portion of the DIBELS, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I was just making sure I had that correct. Why do you believe that this is a feasible goal for Joe?
Well, Joe has a diagnosis of autism, which causes him to develop differently than his peers of the same age, and he should not be performing at the same level of those his age who do not have a disability. However, I have tracked his reading development throughout the years, and I believe that his reading history indicates that he should be able to read on a third grade level. Additionally, Joe's peers who are of the same age and have been diagnosed with autism are currently reading on a third grade level.
Okay, so his past history and his peer comparison indicates that he should have the ability to read on a third grade level in terms of fluency and comprehension. What do you think is inhibiting Joe's ability to reach this goal?
I'm not sure. His ability to identify letters and words is proficient in terms of where he should be currently, so I don't think his fluency is affected by his inability to read the words.
How do you know that he is proficient in this area?
His score in letter word identification on the Woodcock-Johnson indicates that he is on a 3.5 grade level, which is what we expect of him currently.
Okay. Is there something else that he has struggled with in the past or currently struggling with, even if it doesn't seem to relate to fluency?
Joe has also struggled with the articulation of his words in the past and continues to struggle with his speech. He made incredible progress with his speech in third grade and has continued to make steady progress since then. His peers and I can understand his speech without any confusion during a conversation.
That's great information. Does he seem to be confident in his ability to articulate his words?
He's a quiet student and often does not speak up until he is spoken to. He is not a social child and seems to keep to himself when placed in a social situation, but he does not seem to have trouble articulating his words in a conversation.
So, aside from conversation, does Joe have trouble articulating his words when reading a text?
I have definitely heard trends in his articulation of words in a text. In other words, he stumbles over specific words while reading a text, mostly sight words.
Oh, that's good information. Do you think his articulation of words or his confidence in articulating words in a text may be contributing to his difficulty with reading fluency?
I have spoken with the speech pathologist that he works with, and she has not expressed any major concerns to me. I have brought up the possible issue with sight words, but she said that he has no problem articulating sight words when he repeats them after a verbal cue. But she also mentioned that he has trouble saying the words when given a visual cue, as in reading the words from index cards.
It is great to hear that you keep contact with other school personnel who work with Joe. That's a great help. What do you think this discrepancy between the visual cues of sight words and auditory cues of sight words means?
Maybe he has trouble articulating sight words that he reads, and he repeats rather than the sight words he hears, and repeats because he ultimately has trouble recognizing the words.
That's a good theory. Is there any other evidence that you can think of to support this theory?
Well, this would make sense because he displays no problem sounding words out when he does not recognize them, but sight words are very different. Most sight words are impossible to sound out, so he may be having trouble recognizing them when he reads.
Okay, so you believe that he has difficulty recognizing sight words as he reads, which is ultimately affecting his reading fluency, correct?
Sure. After going through his scores, his current performance, his past performance, and my conversation with his speech teacher, I do believe that his reading fluency is ultimately affected by his difficulty with sight words.
You have provided so much important information, and I agree with you about this. Sight words show up a lot throughout any text. Therefore, it would make sense that a difficulty with sight words would influence his reading fluency heavily.
Yes, definitely.
Ultimately, this sight word issue hampers his ability to read fluently. Do you think this sight word issue is a matter of him not wanting to complete a reading task, that is, a performance deficit, or being unable to successfully complete a reading task due to the lack of skill, being a skill deficit?
I believe it is a skill deficit. This is a matter of him being unable to recognize sight words, therefore causing an inconsistent pace in his reading. He is a very motivated student and he wants to do well. This is not a matter of laziness or lack of motivation in reading.
Thank you so much, Ms. Baxter. You have been incredibly helpful in helping me better understand Joe as a student. I feel really good about the progress we made here as we determined Joe's issues to be a skill deficit in terms of his reading fluency. You gave me some great information that is vital to determining an intervention that best suits Joe, as well as yourself. I'm excited to continue working together and combining our skills to help Joe. I also admire the level of advocacy that you provide for Joe and his education. Are there any questions that you have for me?
Yes. What exactly is the next step in this process?
I would really like to come observe Joe in your classroom. Would you be able to let me know when a good day or time would be?
Yes, of course. I can email you our schedule next week.
Great, thank you. I'm going to go through all of the data that I've collected through file review and interviews, and then I will determine which assessments would give me even more information about Joe's academic difficulties. From there, you and I and the rest of our team will collaborate and come up with an intervention that will help Joe with his reading fluency. We will also take into consideration the type of intervention that will best suit you and your classroom.
Okay, perfect. I'll let you know if I think of any more information that may help with this process.
Thank you. Any information you have for me would be much appreciated. And if you have any more questions, let me know. Thanks again. I will be in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you.